With John Cena addressing allegations and more. This is Wrestling Hub. My name is John and you're watching the Wrestling Report. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Hub Official and follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. On Straight Talk Wrestling, Terrence and Terrell Hughes confirmed they still communicate with WWE, as Terrell said. I mean, no matter what, we always stay in contact with some of the coaches there at WWE. I send matches to them via email. So we've had a couple tryouts, we've gotten feedback. Now me and my brother are approaching the age where this is the age where Bubba and Devon Dudley got into WWE. So now this is the point in time where me and my brother are looking at, hey, where can we go? What can we do? I'm hoping, looking at 2023 as a year that we take that next step. But there is communication as of right now. Terrence added, I look back at some of my older first matches or even 4 or 5 years in, and I don't think I would have been ready then. And my dad always pointed that out, so I'm glad. I think right now, we're at a perfect age, a perfect spot in our career where it would be a good time now. So I mean, you never know. Like he said, all the coaches we've known since we were 4 years old, 5 years old, so we see them in passing. My dad talks to them, so that relationship with us is always there, so we're always in talks, so I don't know. We'll see what happens. Speaking about CM Punk's situation with AEW, former WWE star Mojo Rawley said to Inside the Ropes, "The great thing about professional wrestling is when there's real life trauma and terrible relationships, man, it makes a really good TV. That's something you can capitalize on in a big way. I'm not inside that locker room. I never have been. I only have some friends that I've worked with personally. So you never know how everybody feels firsthand, how much of it is maybe exacerbated for potential future storylines. That is something that you kind of subconsciously always have in the back of your mind. If there's like a beef that you kind of want to let go and maybe squash publicly to move on with your life, maybe you don't, because you can save it for a main event paycheck and a main event spot, you know? Maybe you just pump the brakes on that and let it be. You really never know how it is. I mean, obviously, the money that guy can generate and the amount of merch he sells, you can't really fully ignore that ever, even if everyone hated him, which I know is not the case, because he does have a lot of supporters over there. You know, again, it just makes for good TV. It's really hard for someone that's been in the wrestling business for a while to question if it's a shoot, if it's a work, and now being out of the business for a little bit, at least from an in-ring perspective, it's a little hard to tell from the outside, so it just makes it a little more exciting. But again, man, it makes for greater ratings, so I'm very curious to see how that situation goes. I'll be watching as a fan, no question. Speaking about the upcoming debut of a new show for AEW on Saturday, Eric Bischoff said this on his 83 Weeks podcast regarding that and a new deal with Warner Bros. Discovery. Congratulations to Tony and the entire team at AEW. It's a vote of confidence from a television partner, and there's no way that is not a wonderful thing. I don't feel as positive about a third show, just because history has proven that diluting your product and diluting your focus and just diluting your resources for too much content is not strategically the best idea. Add to that, it's a Saturday night show. I don't know how many 18 to 49-year-olds are home watching television on a Saturday night. Maybe a bunch, but when I was in that demo, I wouldn't have been one of them. I just can't imagine that there's much of an audience for it. But hey, I've been wrong before. Let's see what happens. Giving an injury update on Liv Morgan, Dave Meltzer said on Wrestling Observer Radio, "I don't know what the injury is, and they didn't say, but the way everything was played up, you know, it's not like if she was going to be out for a long time with this injury, she'd say she was out, and then they would take steps of stripping them of the belts. You know, it felt like it was something where, you know, she's going to be back very soon." They went on to do an angle with Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler and Raquel to obviously build up a tag title match, so you know, I mean, I think it's a short-term thing with Liv. That's certainly the impression that you would get. Recalling his storyline as a part of the Bloodline, Sami Zayn said this about it changing once Triple H was head of creative telling Inside the Ropes. I think so, for a couple of reasons, but it's hard to say in retrospect. What if? Because we just know what did happen. For me, a crucial component of the story was getting on screen with Roman, and the curveball here being as you expect Roman to not like me, but then he does. Whether it's coincidental, whether it's not, whether the trajectory would have been the same or not, I don't think it would have gone exactly the same way you cut it, because those are two people with two very different visions. A lot of these great stories we talk about in the past, Vince was in charge, so it's not to say these compelling stories could not have operated under him. It just probably would have had a different flavor. What that is, I guess we'll never know. Touching on Randy Orton's income from WWE, Dave Meltzer noted on Wrestling Observer Radio, "Look, Randy's made, I'd say $3.5–4 million a year for years and years and years. Before everyone's salary was escalating when AEW started, Randy was making big money long before that, so he should be set." During an appearance at the For the Love of Wrestling event, Ted DiBiase spoke about his most recent run in WWE, saying, "I had a blast in my stint with NXT. I'm on what they call a Legends contract, so I make myself available to them, and I'm at their disposal if they should happen to call me anytime, and it's rare." Addressing Vince McMahon being set to remain the WWE chairman and chairman of the new company once it is merged with UFC until death, Booker T said on his Hall of Fame podcast, "Look, I ain't going nowhere, you know? If they put me in the ground, just forget about it. Let's not even think about doing something like that ever again." That's what that means. So hey, I get it. I always say, man, when it's yours, how is somebody going to tell you out when you built it? That's a hard pill to swallow. You know, it really is. So I don't blame the man for putting the clause in there and making sure he solidified in that forevermore. When it comes to Seth Rollins competing for the world title at Night of Champions, WRKD Wrestling said this about the star's status. Seth Rollins' Raw segment last night was pre-taped due to filming Marvel's Captain America New World Order. While many backstage are very happy for him, there is hesitancy when it comes to putting the new title on him should these rules continue. For an update on talks to work out a deal for WWE's television rights, it was reported that WWE's exclusive window to negotiate future media rights with Fox and NBC have either expired or are about to, PWInsiderElite.com has learned. WWE CEO Nick Khan noted during the most recent stockholders call that those outlets had about a month of exclusive negotiating rights, and the belief within the company is they are about to or have already hit the point where WWE can open discussions with all potential media rights bidders for Raw, SmackDown, etc. in the United States. Talking about a prospective match between Roman Reigns and UFC star Conor McGregor, Eric Bischoff noted on his 83 Weeks podcast, "I can't see that. I just can't. I can certainly see Conor McGregor in WWE. That's very easy to visualize. Do you really think WWE would, for lack of a better term, prostitute Roman Reigns in a championship for an attraction match? Unless Conor were to really learn how to wrestle so that he could go in there and have a, not just an acceptable match, but a great match with Roman. I think the audience will just gag all over it." Touching on changes to promos in WWE, Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful said, "We're told that several of the wrestlers have been given more flexibility in their promos in recent weeks. Karrion Kross and Shinsuke Nakamura's program was pointed to as an example." Speaking about the possibility of having a trilogy match against The Rock, John Cena told 92NY, "I'm so old. I haven't won a match in like 5 years, man, and no one notices. Thank you. But if you check the stats, I'm in a bit of a slump. He's not exactly an easy opponent. I need to get someone really easy to get a win on the board before I go knocking on The Rock's door again." For an interview with Busted Open Radio, Cena would say this about his reputation for burying talent. You don't pass it to anybody. You just hope to put energy out there and anyone with potential can get it. It was said that I passed the torch to Roman years ago, and he absolutely is the face of the franchise. In my mind, he's the greatest of all time. I tried to do what I could, and when I did it, it wasn't the miracle. Like, it didn't happen. He got it on his own terms. I just like seeing people who are passionate about the business, who want to be there, who want to show up, who aren't using it as a vehicle to do something else because the thing itself is awesome. It's okay if you get other opportunities outside. That's a testament to your work, but man, I wish I was still there every day. So with me, if you put me in that conversation, I can only help the person that I was working with while I was working with him. The reputation I had in the sauce while I was in it was that I buried talent because I would really invest my wholeheartedness. I sat with Austin Theory for like 10 hours, not wasted a day, invested a day to talk about our why, like what's our story going to be. I would do that with everyone. I live it. My heart is on the plate. But after they were with me, they didn't take that energy with them, but I gave it to the next guy. So okay, who's next? It was AJ and now it's Kevin Owens. All right, Kevin, come here. We're going to sit down for 2 weeks and just talk about stuff. Then we're going to go out there and try some crazy stuff, see what works, and then put our best foot forward. Kevin's done. Sami, no problem. What Roman does, just being affiliated with his energy, he gets so many people over. That's something I could never do ever, period. Like, you're with me and you get a chance when you're there, but a lot of times you went off to do stuff that wasn't looked at in the same way, and then the perception of the audience is, oh my god, he buried him. Winning and losing doesn't matter. I haven't won a match in 5 years. It doesn't matter. And this was your Pro Wrestling News Update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all later.